One of the areas that still causes some confusion in the UK employment market is very much around the area of positive action and positive discrimination when recruiting or when assessing and appointing people for particular jobs. As things stand at the moment, positive action is allowable within the UK, and it's there for employers if they want to try and target a wider population group that's currently underrepresented within their organisation and has been for a period of 12 months. They're entitled to take certain measures to appeal and attract to, say, people from ethnic minority groups, or maybe to more female workers, or so on and so forth. And you will see this in job adverts, for example, sometimes where there is statements that says we are currently underrepresented by ethnic minority people in our organisation, and encourage them to apply. Measures like that are allowable, they're legal, and if you've been underrepresented as an employer for 12 months within those particular population groups, you can do things like that to make it broaden the net and try and attract more candidates. Well, it's worth saying that whilst you can attract more candidates and take positive action measures, ultimately the appointment for people into a particular position has still got to be merit-based, and it's still got to be the best person for the job. Positive discrimination is where if there were two candidates for a job, the employer would opt for somebody from a minority group, for example, on the basis that they were from that minority group and not anything to do with competence or to do with their capability. In the UK at the moment, that is still unlawful. In the US, for example, it is lawful within the majority of the states, but as the law stands at the moment, to appoint somebody on the basis of their race or their gender, for example, and on that basis alone, is still considered to be unlawful in the UK. The government is proposing some measures under the Equality Bill. It's working its way through Parliament at the moment that could possibly change some of that. And what their proposal is that if you've got two candidates who can't be separated for whatever reason following an assessment or a recruitment process, is that if you've got those two candidates and you've got, for example, a white male and a white female, is that the employer can actually turn around to the white female and say that they will appoint them on the basis that the two candidates are the same, but they want to increase the number of senior women, for example, in the organisation. And the white male would be told the same reason as to why he wasn't successful in the job. Now that's quite a significant change from where we are at the moment, and it actually concerns a few people, because people are understandably saying, well, if you've got a robust and an objective selection process, which has got a competency framework, which is objective, and so on and so forth, the likelihood of you having two candidates who you can't separate through a robust process is highly unlikely, and indeed in a lot of cases would never happen. So there is some concern about that, because, you know, as the process itself should work, there's no reason why an employer should end up in a position like that, and having to positively discriminate. My feedback from conversations with organisations is they don't want to see that sort of development. They want to see a merit-based approach which is objective and transparent, but still retains the principle of best person for the job. The other issue that is still involved within the Equality Bill is also the issue to do with equal pay. As things stand in this country at the moment, comparable pay rates for men and women doing comparable jobs with the same skill set and experience, on average there is, for every pound that a man earns, a woman would earn 78p for the same sort of job. And the government's proposals in the Equality Bill is to try and get a lot more transparency, to try and close that pay gap, to make sure that it addresses it on an incremental basis over the future years. And the proposals are that people will publish pay awards, pay scales, and people will actually be able to see what's been granted for people, and that the transparency will help to shorten that pay gap. I think the concern that I have, and I know speaking to a number of people within the diversity practitioner population, is that the transparency of pay scales is not going to be the issue itself. Pay scales and systems and processes are fairly robust themselves and have been developed quite sophisticated measures over the last few years. And it's not so much the transparency and publication of pay awards that is the key thing, but it's the attitude and the behaviours of the people who are involved in the pay making and pay award decisions. And I think the focus still needs to be on working with the people who make those decisions. Indeed, it may also be on development activities for people who are on the receiving end of those decisions to be able to negotiate better and to be able to debate and discuss pay awards. Publicising pay is not going to be in itself a significant improvement in the equal pay issue. I think the real issue is about attitudes and behaviours, and those organisations that are working in those areas are the ones that are beginning to see the better improvements.